What is up, everybody? Mr. Curtis here. Welcome to Unit 5.2C, Latin American Revolutions. So far, in this unit, we have the Scientific Rev / Enlightenment, we have the American Revolution, we have the Haitian Revolution, and one more political revolution, which is the Latin American Revolutions. And if you're not picking up on this, all these revolutions are interconnected. They have very similar causes, and we could also throw in the French Revolution in there, which we've talked about in class. So let's rock and roll. Let's get into this. If this is going to be very quick today because it's very similar to everything else. So first off, there's a couple causes of the Spanish American or South American revolutions. So it is, if just a little refresher, kind of a little maybe contextualization, dare I say. So a little contextualization on this is Age of Exploration happens, and during the Age of Exploration, the Treaty of Tordesillas splits up the Americas into one half being Portuguese, one half being Spanish. That was done by the Pope. The Spanish side is ruled by the King of Spain, but he appoints viceroys in charge, and those viceroys rule in his stead or carry out his laws. We also have social class structure that's really race-based setup. And if you don't remember, we have the Peninsulares who are on top. They are born in Spain. They are Spanish people, full-blooded Spanish. Then we have the full-blooded Spanish people who are born in Latin America, known as Creoles. And then as we go down the list, we have different groups of people who are of mixed ancestry of Spanish and Native American. It could be Spanish and African ancestry, and then Native Americans and those who are enslaved. So that's the social class structure. Similar to the Americas, the 13 colonies, similar to Haiti, it is a colonial colony. It is under Spanish control. And as the years go on, the people who live in Spain and the people who live in Spanish South America and Latin America are very different. They start growing separate cultures, essentially, because of the distance and the travel and the blending with African ancestry and Native American ancestry. Things are just different in Latin America. So those ties begin to weaken of what had strengthened them before. So although they have the similar language and they have a similar religion and the culture is somewhat similar, a lot of pieces start fraying and they become different. Also, we have this unequal social class structure that I had just mentioned. This is the social class system here. It is unequal. It is unfair. And up to this point, people didn't question it a whole lot. But as we get into the Enlightenment, people start questioning things. I can't say that enough. They are the groups of people who feel that they are being discriminated against in some way, shape, or form, similar to the bourgeoisie in France, the bougie people. That is going to be this group right here, the Creoles. They are educated. They have knowledge of the Enlightenment. They are talking about the Enlightenment, and they are wondering why, just because where they're born, they can't be in the government like the Peninsulares. They can't hold high-ranking military positions. There are things that they can't do, and at this point, in the late 1700s, they're going to say, why? Why is this a fair system, and what can we do about it? So it's going to lead to people in Spanish Latin America or in South America rising up and rebelling against their government, which are the Peninsulares. And who are doing this rebellion? It is the Creoles. So the Creoles, again, coming back here, full-blooded Spanish, born in Latin America. They are going to be led by this man right here. His name is Simón Bolivar. He is a Creole general. He is well educated. He studied in Europe, so he's been to France, he's been to Spain, he's been all around the world, and he is going to lead this rebellion lead this revolution against the Peninsulares and against the Spanish government, the viceroys, all these groups of people. He is going to rise up and lead them. He, generally speaking, if you know and you hear a name and they have a country named after him, they are pretty freaking important. And he has a country named after him known as Bolivia. If you ever go to most countries in South America, specifically Ecuador, Colombia, Chile, Argentina, you will see statues of him everywhere. He is essentially, and the best example I can give to people who know American history is he's the George Washington of South America. So he is going to lead this revolution. It takes, multiple years, over a decade to actually successfully win, and they kick out the Spanish, and they are going to form their own government. So when they form their own government, here's kind of the outcomes. One, the Creoles take over. This is very similar in a lot of revolutions. So it's similar to the American Revolution when they kick out the British. It's not like everyone's suddenly equal. We still have women discriminated against. We still have African Americans similarly. Same thing here. The Creoles, coming back here for a second, sorry if you're writing that down, the Creoles right here are going to kick out the Peninsulares and just put themselves on top. They're not like, hey, Native Americans, mestizos, enslaved people. We're now all going to be equal. That's not what they say. They say now we're on top. So they are going to assume power. They basically replaced the Peninsulares. They are now in control. And the racial discrimination that has been in place on our little triangle there is going to continue to remain. So we still continue this discrimination against people of African descent, Native Americans in South America and Central America, and that continues. Similar to Haiti, they still struggle economically. There was a strict mercantile system in Latin America where the colonies had to strictly rely on the mother country for trade. And as a result of this, when they do gain their independence, they are going to have to continue to rely on Spain and continue to rely on the former mother country for economic help. So in that case, they don't have their own industries, and as we get into the next thing, which is Industrial Revolution, they really struggle and are a little behind on that. They also rely, similar to Haiti, they rely on cash crop economy. So they've been growing crops, and those crops are how they mainly produce or make money. And when it's a limited thing, when you don't have other avenues or other ways to make money, it's a problem. Last but not least is Bolivar's dream. His dream right here, this guy, his dream was to unite Latin America into one country, similar to the United States of America, where we had 13 colonies and they come together as one. He envisioned Spanish Latin America to become one country, a unified or United States of Latin America. And that was his goal. His goal that there would be one main country here, and Brazil would be its own little thing, but this country would be its own. And it just doesn't work out, because what he discovers in his attempt to unify them is that people who live in Central America are very different culturally, even though they were under the same government as the people down here in South America. So this attempt was, which was the vision, does not see it, and it becomes all these countries start breaking up into their own: Guatemala, Ecuador, Belize, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of the challenge that's going to face Latin America, in that they are not unified, and it's going to lead to division and competition, which can be good and sometimes bad, but we'll find out later on. Anyway, I told you to be quick. That's what I got. You got any questions? Write it down. Let me know. Bye-bye. I'm out.